They say the prettiest girls wear pink lipstick and dress in black. Now, our next guest has ticked all of those boxes, amongst many other boxes such as singer, songwriter, voiceover artist, and as I'd like to call her, my favorite comedian. ESKAY, welcome to Gospel News.
I didn't know it was that funny, but thanks. I should add that to my bio as well.
You should, you really should. How are you doing?
I'm actually very great. And yourself?
I am amazing. I mean, you're looking very beautiful today, and we are happy to have you on this beautiful platform. But for those who do not know you, ESKAY, who is the lady behind the two alphabets? ESKAY.
So, my name is ESKAY. Well, Sakhele Ngidi. I was born and raised in Kagiso in the west of Johannesburg. And I'm just the girl next door who found passion in music and found passion in the arts and found a reason to step out of myself and kind of bring people into a world that they can step up to. So if you've ever felt depressed, if you've ever felt sad, there is a world out there waiting for you to be happy, waiting for you to trust in God, waiting for you to infiltrate industries like the media industry, industries like politics, if that's what tickles your fancy. But whatever it is that you're meant to do, step out of yourself and step up to it. And that's what my life is basically about.
So many artists speak about how they found their gift of music at a very tender age. Is it the same case with you, or did you need a push from somebody?
I think for me it was always, because I have a musical family. Okay. My dad used to be a choir director. My mom used to sing. My entire family, we can sit 3 hours and just sing. Oh, wow. And we can do that. So I grew up in a musical family. And for me, it was just automatic. And once I decided, I think I was around 17, when I decided this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Yeah. And when I did, it was a bit tricky, you know, with the parents and them wanting a good life for me. But once I took that stand, they've just been supportive. And I think the push comes from when you stand on stage and you see people's eyes light up. I think for me, that's the push that I needed. And since I experienced that, that's what I live for.
Have you always done gospel music from the word go, or was it different before?
I'm actually I call myself a gospel artist, but I sing music that inspires. Yeah. So you'll hear it on any radio station, you hear it. So I've always believed that your music must transcend genres, because the gospel and what we are about as gospel musicians should infiltrate even the spaces that aren't necessarily typically for gospel artists. Yeah. And so I've always done your R&Bs, your soul music, your inspirational music. So that's the type of music I'm into, and that inspires how I write my gospel music as well.
It's amazing. And you did mention earlier on about how tricky it was when you had to get into this music space with your parents as well. But at the same time as well, having parents that are from the musical background, are they your worst critiques? Because I know that they might be putting some sort of pressures on you when they watch you perform, because they have been in that space and they have walked that path as well.
I think I don't think my parents are very critical. They're they're people who love to support me, love to support my siblings, and love to support anyone in their space that comes into their space. They're pastors, so I guess that's their job.
Oh, so
but I'm not PK. I'm not telling anyone. So my parents are very. So what they'll do is they'll step into spaces and they'll say, "Remember that song you once wrote? This. When are you recording it? So remember when you performed such and such a song? You should write something similar to that." So they give me direction more than it is about saying, "Hey, you didn't sing that note." Right? I've never heard them say that, but I think they call me out of myself and they're like, "This music works. That song didn't really work."
Yeah.
So clearly, they haven't called you out on bad notes because you're the perfect singer.
Well,
that makes perfect sense. And I mean, you mentioned earlier on, way before the show, I was having a conversation with you, and you mentioned something about your personality, which is something that really strikes. You know, people don't even have to be in this room for them to feel the aura that is surrounded by you. How do you think your personality feeds into the music that you make?
Okay, so I'm very expressive. So when you write music, I think it's an advantage to find the words, to find the feeling, to find the emotion, to find what it is that you're going through, so that when you express it, even if it's a dark thing, you give it light by how inspired you are. You give it light by your outlook on the world, your outlook on God, your outlook on people. So I think my personality gives light to even the darkest things. And I found myself writing music that speaks to those when you're alone in your room. What is it that goes on in your mind? What is it, the conversations you have with God, the conversations you have with yourself? And really, I find that my personality brings that out really effectively, but at the same time, it brings light to it very effectively.
Now that you've told us, Jorge, you are a pastor's kid, I'm going to dwell on that. Ne? What are the pressures that you go through as a pastor's kid? There's expectations. Tell us about those expectations that you get from people at church, people around. I mean, you also spoke about how you sing different genres as well. How do people receive that? How do you come across that?
Growing up, you obviously have to be, you don't have to be, you just automatically become the kid that people's parents go, have you seen ESKAY? She does. So it's not necessarily pressure that's put on you, but just by growing up, just by being yourself, you end up wearing belts that aren't for you, names that aren't exactly who you are. And you find yourself pressured to be a light. And I guess my parents would always say, or my mom would always say, before I'm a pastor's wife, I'm a child of God. And my mom has always said, if you get that right, everything else will fall into place. And I found myself just being able to be myself because it really is who I am. I pray, I read the word. I found myself needing God desperately. And from that place, you make mistakes, but you stand up anyway. You show up for people. You become the person that people can lean on because it's who you are, not only because of the title that you have been given by association. So I think my parents have done a very good job at teaching us to just wear the title child of God. And once you get that right, everything else just kind of falls.
Listen, you have a strong personality, so I guess those challenges don't do nothing.
No trust. I cry, girl. I cry. Being a big personality, a person with a big personality, people think you're always okay. So you have to kind of wear your scars by yourself. You have to kind of spend time by yourself, putting yourself in check, because you kind of, if you have a big personality or if you have any type of influence, you're the person that people listen to even when you don't think they're listening. You influence how people think. You influence what comes into people's hearts and minds when they are depressed, when they are happy, when they are with people. And it's a very big responsibility. So if you don't realize that it's a responsibility, you end up messing with it. You can mess up people's lives without even realizing you're doing it. And you can mess up your own life. And I think the important thing is to remember that you need God. You can't do it by yourself. Each and every waking day, when you open your eyes, you're like, God, I can't do this without you.
Yeah, you can't do it
so
without God.
Taking from that, obviously it means a lot of people draw from you. How do you refill your cup?
Just that. I think for me, the realization that I am in desperate need of God and I cannot do it by myself. I'm not perfect. Far from it. And that the voice that I have is a voice that God gave me. And that the strength that I have, I think when you go through the worst times, you realize how much actually that God has put inside of you. When you feel empty, those are the times that you get to experience God the most. I found that the worst times have brought me the closest to God. Only because I'm real with God. I'm like, God, today I feel depressed. And I don't know how to be somebody else's strength. I don't have the answers. And by realizing that, to be honest, I'm weak and my strength is in Him. When you realize that and you stop being strong and you stop being clever and you stop being smart and you literally rely on Him. There was this one time I was like, God, I'm not even sure I can make it through this 1 hour. I just need the strength to get through this hour. And if I can get through this hour, I'll get through the next one and the next one and the next one. And you look back and you're like, okay, literally God has carried me. Nothing I could have done would have brought me to this place. And when you realize that that's how you get through life, even the things that happen around you can be hard, can be very hard, but they don't take away from you. They add into your life.
Yeah, they add
That's
into
so
your life.
profound,
This is really beautiful. I feel like we should add therapists philanthropist to your many titles, because you are dropping some beautiful gems, and you have so many titles. I mean, I did mention that she's a singer, songwriter, voiceover artist, and a makeup artist on top of that. I mean, slash therapist that we've just added right now. But which one amongst all of them has to be your favorite?
Definitely songwriter and singer, because when you write music and when you perform music and when your music is playing on whatever station or whatever platform that it's playing in, people are listening to you without them even realizing. They could be listening to the instrument, they could be listening, but your spirit catches words. And to be able to have that much influence in anyone's life, for me, holds the title world changer. And that's something that from a young age, I always told myself, me and my brother have a close relationship. And we push each other quite a bit. And the one thing we've always wanted to be is a world changer. And if I can change one person's world, one person's perspective through a few words that I put on paper and I put to melody, for me, that's a life lived for.
You know, what I'm getting from you the most is a reminder of the word of God when he says, to whom much is given, much is required. And I think you got that on point.
Definitely.
You really do.
Definitely.
Where can we get a hold of your music?
My music is... Okay, so if you go on my social media, let me just jump into
This
is me doing a job for you.
We're watching out. Somebody's out to get our jobs, guys.
So if you go on my social media, you'll be able to get all the links to everything that I'm doing, everything that I've done, and everything that is me, musically, business-wise. And the handles are at ESKAYZZEL. Otherwise, type SK Ngidi, and you'll be able to find me. Everything is on there.
Any up-and-coming projects we should look out for?
But now I'm going to tell you secrets, but definitely this year is a year of a lot of music, a lot of singles, and a lot of unconventional appearances. So TV, radio, that sort of thing.
I mean, the whole 9 yards.
What can she not do? A trailblazer at heart.
Yeah.
That was SK. Thank you so much for being here with us. We're wishing you all the best for your future endeavors, and we love you so much. Hopefully that we're going to have you.
Right?
Hopefully we have her here
so
for a comedy show.
We can do pizza night. I'll host.
We're going to take pictures and post on Instagram. But anyways, thank you so much, SK. We love you so much, and may our good Lord bless you.
Amen.
Thank
Amen. Thank you.